Nintendo is like crushing numbers right now. And I'm going to be honest, I'll be the first one to say that I did not see this coming. Like, sure, I thought the Switch 2 was going to be selling well. I did not expect it to be selling so well that Nintendo would be revising their forecast and raising it a significant amount going into not just the holiday season, but into next year, which tells me that they have information that the games that will be coming out will have a high attach rate to people wanting to purchase consoles. And Pokemon probably had a lot to do with that. Wario64 on X says Nintendo has revised Nintendo Switch 2 sales forecast from 15 million units to 19 million units by March 31st of 2026, which I don't know about you guys, but that seems like a lot for a first year console to be sold. Still not beating the PlayStation 2 from what I can tell, or on pace to do so, but pretty damn good for what it's been doing. And this is full year sales for unit forecast for Nintendo Switch 2 hardware has been increased by 4 million to 19 million units, and software by 3 million to 48 million units. Additionally, the forecast for Switch hardware has been decreased by 0.5 million units to 4 million units, and software has been increased by 20 million units to 125 million units. So they plan on selling quite a bit of Switch 2s and not as many Switches, which I mean makes sense, especially when you're upping your estimates by 4 million. That of course the original Switch is going to take a little bit of a hit. But my goodness, I did not see that coming. And it goes in line with another thing Wario said. Going forward, Nintendo will shift its primary development focus to Switch 2 and expand its business around the new platform. AKA, get ready, people who aren't upgrading. The Switch versions that will have Switch 2 versions are going away, and it's just going to be Switch 2 games. Even if the games are runnable on the original Switch, Nintendo's just going to make sure that they don't work on it because they want you to upgrade to the Switch 2. And they're placing a bet saying, if we make these games only for Switch 2 moving forward, that people are going to be forced to upgrade. This is enough handholding in between mediary to get to that bridge to have people come and purchase it. Said Nintendo Switch 2 is designed to be the new standard for the Nintendo Switch concept, maintaining the experience to be able to play anytime. Integrated the new game chat feature. Hardware may look familiar. This enables new gameplay experiences, all the same stuff that most people already know about it. But still, the numbers that they were coming out with are mind-bogglingly large. Wario continues. He says 400 million Nintendo accounts have been created. 128 million annual playing users. This is free revenue for the online service. They just need to maintain their servers. And trust me, they make a pretty penny getting to that point by saying, oh yeah, we'll have the servers up and running and we will make an amazing amount of money for doing that. Remember, free to play online games on PC. 84% of Switch 2 players transitioned from Switch, preparing more movies in the future. 950 million downloads on mobile apps, which is their mobile division, by the way, that no one ever talks about, is doing gangbusters, especially the Fire Emblem game. It's disgusting amount of sales. We'll start with that one, actually. Game apps for smart devices, the Fire Emblem Heroes game. The game applications you see here are available in up to 164 countries. Cumulative number of unique downloads for apps purchased by Nintendo surpassed 950 million. They're almost at 1 billion downloads. Holy shit. Most recently, September 25th, we released Fire Emblem Shadows, a new application in the Fire Emblem series. So they have Fire Emblem Heroes and now Fire Emblem Shadows. Those games make so much money. It's not even funny. Building a framework for a consistent release cadence. So Mario Brothers movie, which did gangbusters, Mario Galaxy movie that is coming out in 2026, Zelda 2027, and we're gonna guess here, dare I say, Metroid? Please? That'd be amazing. Following the release of Mario movie in 2023, Galaxy, and all this other stuff, we're continuing to prepare ongoing release of movies in the future. And this is the key indicators: annual playing users. Nintendo accounts 400 million of those. Switch Online members, 34 million. And that's the thing, by the way, with Mario Kart World, where it's a double dip. Not only are they raising the price on a new console, making more money off the new console that they're selling, but now when people purchase it, by and large, people are going to be buying an online subscription to be able to use that game online. So you have a constant revenue flow from that game that you've already sold once to continue making money off of it as time goes on. Transition to Switch 2. 84% of Switch 2 players have transitioned from Nintendo Switch. Not only early adopters, but consumers who started playing Switch at various points in its life cycle have also transitioned to the Switch 2. So they only have 16% people playing it or that own a Switch 2 are people that never owned an original Switch. Breakdown of Switch adoption timing among Switch 2 users. So it's doing very well. This is the quarterly financial results, which I'm not going to bore people with, but this is available as well. That goes through the amount of yen that they made, which again, crushing it, absolutely crushing it. And it goes to the point of they're doing so well, and I can't blame them for being greedy because that's welcome to capitalism. That's how it works. But my goodness, what a slap in the face to longtime customers by taking advantage of just charging more, not because you need to, but because you know you can, because they'll pay it. And you know what? I'd actually be okay with that if they were giving people more or at least the same. But unfortunately, with Switch 2 game key cards, by and large, they're not doing that. They're giving people less for their money. Now, to be fair, none of those are first party games, but still, just the fact that they exist on the platform is terrible business practice. I personally refuse to buy any game key card. If it comes out, I just don't want to play the game. Like, sorry, I'll play it on another console, and they will lose that sale. And it's unfortunate that Nintendo even made the decision to go forward with that. It was a very publisher favorable decision, a very anti-consumer direction to go. This is from CNBC. They said Nintendo hikes Switch 2 sales forecast to 19 million units as flagship console momentum grows. Nintendo raised its forecast for Switch 2 consoles. The Japanese gaming giant is now expected to sell 19 million units. And it breaks down the revenue, which we kind of already ran through here. But suffice it to say, they are swimming in money right now and trying to raise the price of games while they're doing as good as they can. That's crazy. Nintendo's riding a wave of momentum after launching its latest console, Switch 2, in June, with stock up nearly 40% this year at an all-time high, I might add. Nintendo said it sold 4.54 million units of Switch 2 in the September quarter. That was a decline compared to the high demand seen immediately following the Switch 2 during its first fiscal quarter, adding that performance remained strong. In total, Nintendo has sold 10.36 million units of the Switch 2 since launch. That is such an insanely large number that is hard to mentally comprehend. In less than 1 year, selling over 10 million of anything is insane. Just to be able to create 10 million of a device in less than a year is insane, which goes to show that Nintendo, the reports of them were producing the Switch 2 for months, if not years, leading up to the launch of the Switch 2, almost like they knew that this was going to sell like bananas and they would not run out of them. Like, this is a seasoned company that knows what they're doing. Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza have proved to be two of Nintendo's most popular games. Well, they're the only games. I mean, outside of Pokemon, which would also, they should add that to the list. Did they forget Pokemon? Like, what the hell? Here we go. Nintendo managed to maintain sales Switch over the years thanks to games Mario and Pokemon. Oh, they're talking about over the years. This is the big one, by the way. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, scheduled for December this year. I got to be honest, guys. This is a game that I've been waiting for since it was announced, what feels like 7 years ago, almost like close to the time when I started my YouTube channel. And I saw that Nintendo Direct, they announced it. I lost my shit. I was so excited. Metroid is one of my favorite game series ever. Metroid Prime, amazing series. And Metroid Prime original, by the way, on GameCube, still holds up today as one of my favorite games I've ever played. So yeah, Metroid Prime 4, hopefully not a letdown, I'd imagine, based off of the time put into it. And after restarting it and going back to Retro Studios, I have some high hopes for that. And I have a feeling that Nintendo does as well with these sales goals that they're putting out there. But historically, Metroid Prime has not been a system seller, and they already announced that this game is going to be original on the original Switch as well. So I don't know if it's going to be selling a lot of Switch 2s, and it makes me wonder if Nintendo has like something else up their sleeve that they haven't announced yet that they know is going to start going bonkers with this console sales, or if they're just looking at the Christmas season and being like, yeah, everyone's going to buy it Christmas. Pokemon is there, Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, and Metroid. What more do you need? And finally, this comes to us from Video Games Chronicle. It said Nintendo Switch 2's phenomenal launch continues as it clears 10 million, more than PS4 and PS5. Company has raised its forecast for the business year. Switch 1 set to become Nintendo's best-selling console ever. And I've said this before in the past, and I know it's kind of a controversial thing to say, but I believe the original Switch might actually be my favorite console ever made. And that's not just because, oh, it can play all the old games on it too. It's like, no, just from a sheer technological standpoint, to be able to play games on the TV and play them on the go, it was amazing. I was trying not to get caught up in the moment when I said that. It's like now that I can look back at it after some years have passed, I'm like, yeah, the Switch 1, it was the best Nintendo console. It really was. Don't get me wrong, I love games on the Super Nintendo. Uh, the Super Nintendo probably houses my favorite Nintendo games, but as far as consoles and the abilities and what it can do and what it was able to do in my life for me, I mean, the Switch 1 was just it was amazing. Nintendo Switch 2's phenomenal launch momentum continued through September. 10.636 million consoles sold by end of the month. That's more than the original Switch, 4.7, PlayStation 4, 7.5, or PlayStation 5, 7.8, managed during their first 2 quarters on sale. Though the latter was stock constrained by COVID, making Switch 2 comfortably the biggest console launch ever. That's crazy. It's a good point too, because I got my PS5 day one. And I remember, like, because I was able to get the pre-order and have it delivered, I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" I'm PS5. I remember looking for them on store shelves for what feels like years after I bought it, and I still to this day, like, I don't always even see a PS5 on store shelves. They're still hard to find. I've seen Switch 2s everywhere. I went to Costco. They were everywhere at Costco. Like you can find them still. Nintendo shared the sales figures as part of the latest financial results on Tuesday. In response to the numbers, the company raised its hardware forecast up to 19 million units. This is crazy. There you go. Comfortably outselling the original. A direct comparison there. Which, I mean, just like sequels should do, the companies should expect it to be doing this. This is what they build it for, is to make more money selling more of them. And here it is. And so far it looks like nothing will ever come close in our lifetime to the Switch 2 sales for game consoles. This might actually be, because game consoles seem to be going the way of the dodo with PC becoming more and more of a thing. I don't I don't think there will ever be another console that sells this well, ever. Maybe there'll be something that comes out that just takes the world by storm, but I mean, this is bonkers numbers. Absolute bonkers. Um, but yeah, we can go through all the stats over and over again, but Fact remains, Nintendo is doing very well. Their stock's at an all-time high, and they are raising sales expectations, raising prices on games, giving you less game key cards, screwing you over at every turn, making you pay for online, making you nickel and dime you for everything. But at the end of the day, people are buying it. And in a capitalistic society, I guess they're doing what businesses do, make a lot of money when times are good. And if anyone out there in the gaming industry knows when times go bad, it can be really bad, it's Nintendo. So they are diving in, taking everything they can when they can right now, and probably storing some of that away for those years that it might not be as good as it is right now. But we'll see what happens in the future. But for now, I will leave that right there.